We're gonna do it. Well, I'm checking. I think everybody knows you, Aurolina, but I'm gonna give a proper introduction to Aurolina. Hi everybody. Everybody knows me. If not, I'm Ruthie. Yeah, everybody knows me. Hi guys. Welcome to our lunch and learn. I know May is hard time, so I really appreciate we all part of the EDI Council. I appreciate you guys being here. Your EDI Council members are here. Will, Molly, Jonathan, Jake, and Rachel's on the phone. So thanks for being here. The topic today is religion in the workplace. It's going to be presented by Aurolina Wave. Auro is a licensed marriage and family therapist. She's the most good-looking worker in our agency. That's what it says here.
You did say.
She has 25 years of experience. She's been working over 13 years with Lumin, and she helps our families. She's the most coveted staff member in Bachman, in Lumin Bachman, because she is the therapist for our clients. So with much further ado, Auro, the auditorium is yours.
The auditorium, thank you so much. So let me share my screen and go to here and go to there. I believe you guys are seeing my, are you seeing my screen? The title, Navigating Religion in the Workplace?
Sí.
Okay, yes. Perfect. Thank you so much. And let me just take this out of the picture. Okay, so thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very, very happy to be here. This is a huge topic, so I apologize because I am gonna be speaking very fast because there's a lot that I wanna share. I have to be very honest. Most of what you're gonna hear today are gonna be questions because obviously this is such a delicate topic, such a broad topic that there's nobody has really found the answer of what is the right balance or the right ways of approaching this. But I think that through the questions that I'm going to be posing, hopefully that'll help you think about the situations that you found yourself or will find yourself. It'll help you think about what are the best responses that I can have in different situations if I take the time to kind of create this self-awareness or answer these questions for myself. So maybe you were hoping for more of a 1, 2, 3. This is what we need to do, but no, that is definitely not what's going to happen. I really like how when this workshop was described, it included the better understanding our own desires and beliefs about religion, big topic, while maintaining respect for others with different beliefs. So the first question that I would have each person ask themselves is how much, if at all, it is important for me to integrate work and religion. For some people, it's not an important issue. For some people, maybe they are very private and they want to keep religion as something away from work. But for other people, and especially when we talk about ethical and moral decisions, for other people, it's very important to integrate those two. And that is, of course, the challenge. How do we mix all of those varieties of thinking how do we maintain it in a respectful environment? The maintaining respect part. When the workshop was described, there was a little part that said, additionally, Aurolina will help us figure out what is appropriate to share with our clients and families around religion. So, I mean, we could do a whole other conversation about this. I'm going to go through some questions and some suggestions on how to proceed to make that decision. But we will probably have a lot more to talk about. So let me start with a tiny bit of history. When what we call now the founding fathers decided that it was time to create this new constitution for this new government, it was very important for them because of what they had experienced, their generations before had experienced in their countries of origin. It was very important to separate religion from the government. It was very important that government did not have the authority to impose any type of beliefs on people. The First Amendment is exactly that. The First Amendment guarantees the freedoms concerning religion, expression, and assembly, and it restricts the government from limiting individual religious practices. What are individual religious practices? Let's talk about some examples, no? Especially at work. What are religious practices at work? So I have the right, the First Amendment gives me the right to express my own beliefs, either verbally or non-verbally. We'll see examples. The First Amendment gives me the right of performing my job in accordance to my own beliefs. Nobody can force me to do something that will put my spiritual well-being in danger. I am legally allowed to talk about religion with my coworkers. We'll see some limitations. And I am legally allowed to talk about religion with my clients. We'll see some suggestions. Also very important, even though I'm not going to be repeating this throughout the workshop, the First Amendment also gives me the right not to have any religious belief and not to have any belief imposed on me. So this is important, of course, when we have to balance the right of one person to share their beliefs and the other one not to have any belief and not feeling that there's an imposition of beliefs. So let's start with the first one that I said, expressing my own beliefs, and let's talk about what could be some examples of expressing myself religiously, you know. And again, I'd like you, as you see these next images coming out, I'd like you to think if there is any one of these images that is easier for you to accept, or if there's one that slightly or a lot makes you uncomfortable, and to think about why. No, if you think about it, all of these, well, except for the necklace, the cross, but all of the others are examples of head coverings, which of course in different cultures have different meanings. And for some people, they might create some discomfort because of their beliefs. So all of these people have the right to do it. The evaluation of what impact it has on others, it is something important to be aware of myself. Another way of expressing my beliefs non-verbally would be office decoration, not having something at on your wall, on your computer. Again, think about if there's any of those that is easier for you to accept, or if there's one that creates a little bit of I don't know if conflict or concern. No, is it easier for me to accept the Virgin of Guadalupe on someone's laptop because that's what I grew up with? In my case, I grew up in Mexico, or is it easier for me to see a Buddhist what is it called, a peace garden, or a Buddhist Zen garden, and to see a Shinto Torii sign over there? How do I feel when I see something written in a language that I don't understand? And is it easier for me if I understand what it says down there? So one of the first problems regarding the freedom of religious expression is, what if the beliefs expressed, images, written word, clothing, is something that another protected group finds insulting? I'm going to talk later about what protected groups mean. And let's give some examples. Again, I go with my questions. In the next few pictures, imagine your reaction if you saw them at work. And if you don't have a big reaction, if it doesn't mean anything to you, think if someone could find it upsetting, even if you don't. So one of the oldest signs, oldest religious signs that exist in the world is a swasti, which comes from the Sanskrit, I can't pronounce that word, meaning well-being. And it is a symbol that even today is still used in Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. What impact could this have in the workplace? And how do people at work, how do employers balance the right of one person to display this and the impact it might have in other people, no? That the actual sense of discomfort that could bring in other people. How about if you saw in one of your co-workers' office or cubicle, if you saw this image from the processions, the Catholic processions that happen in Santiago de Compostela, Spain, every year? That could be somebody's brother or grandfather, but of course, what means one thing in one religion could have a very different impact for another person, and actually could create a sense of anxiety or a sense of worry. No? Let me show you another image that, again, controversial, if to say the least. Now, this image in particular, can we consider this a religious expression? Is this part of a religious belief? And I don't have the answer, but it brings up, it does mention the word God, right? But it brings up the topic that another significant problem regarding the freedom of expression is, how do you define which group or which sets of beliefs constitutes a religion? Let's say that somebody was displaying an image that one group considers pornographic, but another person says, well, no, that is part of my religion because we believe in the sacredness of the naked body. Well, it turns out that that person presenting that image or displaying that belief would have to actually, if someone is uncomfortable, if someone puts a complaint, that person would have to actually prove that it is a sincerely held religious belief, and that most likely they would have to prove that it's actually a religion. This next example maybe won't insult anybody, or maybe from my point of view, I don't think anyone would have a complaint if someone is a member of the Temple of the Jedi Order. But let me just share that this is actually a religion that is registered in the United States. It was created here in Texas. So if someone felt it was important for them to perform their job or to express themselves according to the Temple of the Jedi Order, even if another person found that, for example, and I don't mean to insult anyone, if anyone found that that it's mocking of other religions, this person has the right to do it. No, so again, this was just the initial challenge of expressing my religion, expressing my viewpoints, and to what limit. Now, the other thing protected by the First Amendment is the right to bear. Oh, sorry for that typo. The right to perform my job in according to my beliefs. The most recent examples of people finding themselves in conflict of their job duties and their beliefs are someone who found themselves, a police or a security officer who found himself responsible for the electric chair, and this is a person who believes that every life is sacred. How about health workers that need to, for example, perform an emergency abortion to save the life of a woman, but they don't believe in any type of any type of circumstances under which this is allowed. We've had examples and many times in the news about public servants, people working in the public services, refusing to, if they don't believe in gay marriage, for example, refusing to take part of that or doing ceremonies. So what are workplaces mandated to do when there is a conflict between religious beliefs and the duties of the job? So it turns out that the First Amendment was not specific enough. It just said, the government cannot impose any belief on other people. So in 1964, Title VII, which was part of the Civil Rights Act, was created to be more specific about what employers need to do and employees are supposed to do. So I'm not going to read this in detail because when I share these slides with you, you can read them more carefully. But basically, Title VII says that it's unlawful to discriminate against someone because of race, color, religion, sex. Those are the protected groups. And it basically means that because someone has a certain religious belief, you are not allowed to stop promotions for them. You are not allowed to, reject them from a certain position. Employers are not allowed to make decisions that will affect negatively the professional growth of this person, of this employee. However, the law also says, Title VII also says that employers cannot refuse to make reasonable adjustments. And we're going to be talking in a second what are reasonable adjustments, unless it creates, and here it goes, unless it creates undue hardship for the employer. I'm sorry, I went too fast on that one. So reasonable accommodations unless it creates undue hardship for the company. Some examples of reasonable accommodations. You are allowed, or any person is allowed, to pray at work, for example, in any way or form. Some companies even might go as far as creating a multi-discipline or multi-belief room for people to do that, for people to have their quiet and their pray time. But there are other accommodations, and this may sound not too complicated, but there are other accommodations that may present bigger challenges. For example, when people have a day of the week that is holy, the one that we know the most is the Sabbath. We gotta remember that our business environment is created around Christian traditions of having Sunday as the day of rest, Sunday of the day of religious practice for most people. So companies need to provide some sort of accommodation for those people who are not allowed to work on their Sabbath, on their holiday. Now, of course, why do I say that this presents bigger challenges? Because I don't know if you can see on your screens, but those are the six or seven biggest religions in the United States with their holidays. And you can imagine what a calendar, an office calendar might look like if we had to close the office or a certain department in order to provide to each employee their own opportunities. No, each office needs to find a way to create that ability, but it creates a bigger challenge for the company. When that challenge is too big, that is when it's called undue hardship by the law. And basically means if accommodating the religious belief of a client is too expensive for the company, or it has too much of a big impact on their processes, on their hiring another person, another employee, etc., that is when the company, after looking for several options and after negotiating with the employee about how about this, how about that, if there is no alternative that it's at a minimum cost for the company, that is the only situation in which the employer can refuse an accommodation. Let me give you an example. There was a famous case back in 2014 in which a security guard at a university in North Carolina, his initial job did not require him to use a gun, but the circumstances changed. He was mandated to have a gun, but he was a Jehovah's Witness and his religion did not allow it. The case went to court, and because any change that the university suggested the employee was not willing to take, and any accommodation that he wanted was too expensive, it was too expensive for the university. The court ruled that this accommodation could not be given to that person. So every case is different, but again, an employee has the right. The company needs to provide basically the cheapest solution that does not affect the employee, and they need to move on from that on. Going back to freedom of expression, if in some religions, the conflict that has arisen at work has been that for some religions it's very important to share their beliefs with other non-believers, but actually to promote them to change into their religion. No, so one thing is just to share what I'm thinking, and another one is what is called proselytize, which is trying to convince a person to think differently. You can imagine that what one person may consider spreading the truth or saving the soul, another person may consider harassment. So once again, work settings, employers find themselves in a very delicate balance of all the different needs between employees, the different religions, their right to express themselves, and the right to be protected from harassment. That is a very important limitation on how employers make those decisions. Continuing regarding with freedom of expression, workers must be allowed to share their religion's beliefs. Once again, that is one right that the First Amendment provides us. But Title VII kind of explains that this needs to happen only in the context of consensual conversations. So if my coworker is not interested in hearing what I have to say about God or my beliefs or my ideas, then I don't have the right to be imposing that on them or insisting on the conversation. Companies have the right to run their business according to their religious principles if they choose to. So companies are allowed to start a meeting by prayer, any type of prayer. But what companies are not allowed is to discriminate, once again, against those employees who are unwilling to participate. So if an employee, while everybody is praying, if that person decides that they don't want to participate, they have the right, but the company cannot refuse a promotion to that person. The company cannot refuse or ignore their input during a session and cannot force them to be part of that. Again, that those behaviors would be considered harassment, and that is we all have the right to be protected from harassment. An important part when I was talking about evangelization or proselytism is what happens if the person trying to convince others of you need to change religion, you need to find the truth or my truth. What happens if that is a superior? What happens if that is the boss? How can you tell your boss, I'm not interested in what you have to say, without fear of retaliation? No? So that is the work environment. That is between coworkers, and I know that there's a million conversations we can have about that. But let me go to the second part, which is sharing our beliefs with clients. And in the case of Lumin, I am thinking that for teachers, I'm thinking of students as their clients, and for our parent educators, the whole family that they're visiting, the whole environment that they're visiting. And something that it is crucial to remember when we are thinking about sharing or not with clients, is that there is a power imbalance. Like it or not, the teacher has certain power, certain authority over a student, and the parent educators, even though we are sort of at the same level, we are still perceived, or they are still perceived as some sort of as experts in the field. So as soon as there is a power balance, I have to be very careful about what I share, because again, I might be imposing, and the other person might feel it, might sense that as pressure or harassment. In the school settings, let me give you two examples. There have been new cases in which, for example, coaches are allowed to have their students pray for a certain religious event, but if one of the students declines to participate, they are not allowed. Coaches are not allowed, again, to bench them or to make decisions against them. No. This is the office of a counselor. I think it was a case in Tennessee. I'm not 100% sure, but a counselor that their belief about change is that you have to start with praying. Yes, he or she can have that display in their office, but they are not allowed to force their students or even try to convince them that that is the way that things need to be done. So when we talk about sharing religious beliefs with clients, when I find myself in that situation, we're going to see three different scenarios. And the first one is, what if it is the client that asks about my personal beliefs? What if they say, are you religious? Do you believe in God? Why do you cover your hair? Why do you wear that necklace? Or do you go to church? My first recommendation would be wait. You see right now the timer thing that many times we have in the computer. I would say right away put in your mind that timer, or that, I don't know what to call it, and wait, because many times after people ask such a personal question, many times they will move on and they will tell you why they are asking. They even answer the questions themselves, or move on with their own agenda. As I was saying, a lot of questions. Ask yourself, why is the client asking me that? Are they curious about me, or do they want to know more about my religion? Are they looking for confirmation of their own beliefs? Many times the clients will say, I don't know you, but I believe that. So maybe they're looking for confirmation. Do they want to talk about their own beliefs? Maybe they just want to open the door and they want to share how they grew up, or what they now feel is important. Ask yourself, are they wondering if I can be trusted? Many times that's why they want to know what is my background. But do I feel myself comfortable talking about this aspect of my life? And it is okay not to respond. It is okay to say, you know what, I prefer not to talk about my religious beliefs. It is okay to say, well, I think what is important is what you believe or what you do. And it is okay to say, well, tell me what you believe. It is very, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's very valid to turn it around and to say, you're interested, tell me about what your thoughts are. So feel free to not respond and to move on with the conversation. If you do feel that you wanna share something personal about your beliefs, another question: can I provide an answer without suggesting that another group or people or religions are mistaken? Can I answer without suggesting there's another group who is lost in their beliefs? Can I answer without suggesting that somebody else is inferior? And think about it. This is super important, because you don't know if the client, if the family, if the student that you're working with has someone in that group that I might be suggesting doesn't know the truth, or is wrong, or is making bad moral decisions. No. So if I can answer without smearing the beliefs of others, maybe it's okay to do that. Again, this is when clients ask. Brief and matter-of-fact answers may be the best approach. Why do you wear that cross? Oh, I wear this cross because my grandma gave it to me for my first communion. So you are sharing that you're Catholic, but you know it's something that your grandma gave it. You don't have to go through the whole belief. Oh, in my religion, covering our heads is a sign of respect to blah blah blah. And I don't know if any of you have ever seen the movie Fiddler on the Roof, or have seen the play. My favorite answer is tradition. When he is asked about the reasons why Jewish people do this or that, he simply said tradition. So one easy way to respond to some of the questions that clients ask is like, it's just a tradition in my family, if you don't want to go any further. Let's move on. I said we were gonna see several examples of situations in which we might share religious belief with clients. The second one would be situations in which I feel inclined. So the client didn't ask, but I feel that I want to share my beliefs with the client. And as I said, question: ask yourself why. Why do I feel that I have to share? Sometimes it's as simple as, oh, you know what? I won't be working next week because I celebrate Ramadan. And forgive me if there are any Muslims in the group. I don't even know if during Ramadan people take time off. I just wanted to bring a different point of view, instead of, for example, saying Christmas. That is something that everybody or a lot of people share very easily. Again, if I want to share my religious part of my religious beliefs, is it as simple as, oh, you know what, I've been super busy preparing for my son's bar mitzvah or my daughter's first communion? Sometimes it's as simple as that. You are sharing about yourself, but there's no implication of one doing better or you should think differently. I'm just sharing about my life. If I do have a situation in which I feel that I want to share something, ask myself or ask yourself, am I just sharing who I am? Am I being authentic, just sharing this is my life? Or am I thinking that my clients will benefit? I'm sorry, my beliefs will benefit the client. And let's be honest, everyone who shares a deep belief with another person is convinced that they are doing something good for the other one. Is convinced that they are bringing something positive for the other person. But once again, caution, and also, like you have the timer, imagine also this yellow sign that says caution, proceed with caution. What one person might believe is sharing the truth, it might be considered pressure, it might be considered harassment for another, no? And especially in the case of clients who perceive us as an authority, perceive us as a person with expertise, we have to be very careful about that. More questions to ask myself when I feel that I want to share. Do I know if our values, the client and mine, are similar? Maybe it might be okay to share. Or will I put a client in conflict with their own belief? What about if I know a child has certain beliefs at home and my religion goes against those? Will sharing my stuff put that client in conflict with their own belief? I'm just quickly thinking, what if in my religion I don't believe in gay marriage, but the child is has two fathers? Should I share about my belief when this kid who is influenced by me is being raised by these two people? Ooh, very, very delicate situation. Is the client about to make a decision that I think I have the right choice for? So I would say, oh, let's really think about that. How can I know that I really have the right choice for another person? Situation number 3, situations in which I feel inclined to teach the client and correct their mistaken beliefs. So the second one was, I'm just sharing, right? Oh, I had a busy day because of the bar mitzvah. But in the third one is what the client saying making me feel that I need to correct that? And here goes some of the most difficult questions. The first one I would say is, if you really feel that you need to say something, stop and think, is the client's belief something that I consider harmful? Could this damage someone? And I know that is a very big statement, because could it be harmful physically, emotionally, spiritually? And again, could that harm be for the client, for a child, to me, to others? Here I would say the immediate or the first point to decide is this something in which there is a law that requires me to protect an innocent person? If we find ourselves hearing that a religious belief is gonna physically hurt a child, we might have no option but to report that, but to do something. Maybe I won't get into the discussion about my personal beliefs with your personal beliefs, but if I think something is harmful, I might be mandated to protect. If the damage is quote unquote only spiritual, oh, is it my place? Is it not? And the reason I'm going with the doubtful response is because I would want to encourage you to go to reflective supervision right away. Again, if there is a situation in which you feel you need to disclose something or you need to feel you correct something, I would say don't do it at that moment. Don't do it right away, unless there's potential immediate harm to a minor or to an innocent person, to a disempowered person, and process this in reflective supervision before you move on further. No, I know that parent educators and family advocates do have reflective supervision, and I also know that all Lumin employees have at least 3 sessions per year with Carol or Stan. So I would say this is definitely one of those opportunities. And I would suggest in reflective supervision to explore these ideas. First of all, define what is the conflict between the client's belief and mine. What is making me uncomfortable? What is making me vibrate with this need to say something? Am I worried about the spiritual well-being of the client or mine? For example, if in my religion my duty is to evangelize, to convert people, am I more concerned about my duty to do that, or am I more concerned about the client and their need, which they didn't express? Remember, this is a situation in which they didn't express interest. A final suggested question is this discussion in the benefit of the client? I would say that is the number 2 question. First of all, is someone in potential harm? Is someone going to be hurt? And is this in the benefit of the client? And if the answer is no, there is no harm, and no, it is not really in the benefit of the client, but for my peace of mind, I would say maybe go to reflective supervision twice. I'm not gonna show you, I have a whole flow chart, which we are not gonna see because we need to have some conversation about what I just said. But for Molly, for Ruthie, and for Vero, I created a whole chart, including those questions that I mentioned before, that we could review with parent educators. And I think it would be very, very useful to have as a guidance of when is it okay, or at what point it is okay, and how to approach these conversations with the clients. What you'll basically see is that no matter what path you follow, you're going to end up with go to reflective supervision. So that is it. 33 minutes. I went through a lot of these. I would love to hear your comments, your opinions, your concerns, and your disagreements with me.
Wow. Oh, this was incredible. It was a lot. I know you didn't even breathe, so take a deep breath. Thank you. Anybody has any thoughts, comments, questions? We have about 4 minutes. Of course, this is just like the beginning of a much bigger conversation. We're just like lighting up a match, and hopefully we'll have continuing conversations. But anyone, please unmute yourself and speak up.
Or situations that you found yourself and you want to share.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, thank you so much, Aurolina, because I know this has come up for us before. At least I can think of a couple years ago at Bachman with some beliefs of some of our families that ran very contrary to beliefs that staff had, and it created some stress. So this is helpful to know how to relate and how to address it, and to remember our role and our boundaries as staff and working with the family. So thank you, because it is helpful. Yeah.
Thank you. And I hope the questions, again, the questions of what I need to think about, move us from the simple position of it's my right to say it, it is their right to have this, though, or it's my right to have an accommodation. Okay, let's think about it. Thank you, Tanya. Molly?
Yeah, a couple of things came up for me. One was the like if you're in the workplace and even though, I mean, I understand it's okay, but if everybody is going to come together to do some sort of religious thing that you're not a part of, I think just by having that event, it often makes that person feel
excluded.
Yeah.
Excluded. And again, it's such a difficult balance, no? Because by law, you cannot forbid one group from having that event, but by having it, how are you, putting those other people to the side, no? And again, I wish I had the perfect solution. And it's funny, no, because when there are places that I'm just going to give the silly example that put the Christmas tree and the Hanukkah and the Kwanzaa and the Ramadan symbols, at the end, there might still be people uncomfortable with that. No, I guess for our workplace, I think the important thing is to have a respectful curiosity. So I have my beliefs, and maybe I can be respectfully curious about others without imposing. Thank you, Molly. Rocío, I see your hand.
Sí, yo tengo un ejemplo. Lo puedes, bueno, I'll try to do in English.
Okay. Okay.
I used to visit the family, and she was Christian, not Catholic. I'm Catholic. And she went to El Salvador to visit her family, and she brought to me a big, well, it's like, a picture of Saint Oscar Romero. So
the
she
priest,
knew that it was meaningful to me as a Catholic.
Oh.
So I have that picture in my desk. Because for me is more valuable, since was a gift from somebody who is not Catholic.
Wow.
So
yeah.
this mother gave it to me, and of course Oscar, for me it's important because he is a hero on human rights.
Right. And I would say, Rocio, I would say this talks a lot about how strong your relationship was with the client, that she was able to recognize what's important for you, share that with you, and not be in conflict with her own beliefs. No, I guess a little bit more of a challenge would be, what if she had given you something from her religion that you felt, oh, they're trying to convert me, no, or they're trying me to change my belief. That's a little bit of more of a challenge, because you go like, oh, what do I do? Do I accept it? Do I not? What do I...
Well, I will, depending on the person and the relationship, I will keep that as a gift and try to see the goodwill, and just,
I love it.
I
love it.
Just like that, the respect, and
you said it. Yeah, you said a very important sentence, goodwill. No, I think that if we do think that people come with good intentions, sharing about the religion, I think it's okay. At the same time, if there is a point where I said, you know what, thank you, I don't believe in that, and I'm not interested in blah blah blah, hopefully the other side will also be able to accept and say, oh, I got it. This is as far as we get, no?
Yeah, and also on that topic, and I know we're about to run out of time, but it has happened to me exactly that, no? Like, in one hand, a woman trying to like convert me into Catholicism, like so hard, like she came out so strong, no? Like with a rosary and a Bible, and she's like, you should, like, kind of like, you should, no?
You are wrong. You need to change.
And at that point, I was like, thank you, but no thank you. Like, I was able, like you're just be mindful of what your body is telling you, no? I right away felt uneasy and felt very comfortable to tell her thank you, but no thank you. And the opposite has happened when people give me like medal, así como medallitas, no, of saints or virgins or things. I keep them, no, because I think it was a nice gesture. It just follow and be true to your body, to your mind, and to your heart, no?
Right. And that's why I intended to make a lot of questions about, self-awareness. What is happening inside me? How is this feeling? How would I feel if I was on the other side? And the answers are, case by case.
Exactly. All right. Anybody else? One more burning comment or question before we log off?
Thank you so much. This was excellent.
Thank you, Susan. I hope
I have only one
I
thing.
speak very quickly. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It happened to me once, and it's interesting to know about other people's beliefs or costumes, because I was visiting this family, and their beliefs or costumes, or it was that they don't go inside a house with their shoes on, and it's not to do with hygiene. It has nothing to do with that. It's about their religion. And even though I'm not at that religion, I'm respecting. And because I was going to their home, I was leaving my shoes outside and go without shoes inside because of respect. That's not going to change my belief. I'm just respecting theirs.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And it is beautiful because you end up being more mindful. And in my case, when that has happened, I remember to bring socks that don't have holes, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I wanted to share one example of a situation that what created the most conflict for me. A client once shared how their belief was that if a couple was having sex and they were not married, the devil was running around in their around their bed. So that was a sincerely held belief. I have to be honest, my initial reaction was like, oh my God, no, you cannot be thinking that. And I apologize if I'm insulting anyone's beliefs, but I'm just sharing that was my initial reaction. No, how did I manage my reaction? Is asking questions. Where did that come from? When did you learn that? How do you feel that? What does marriage mean for you? So move it into the client, so you know more about, and you create that connection, that relationship that Laurencia and Rocio and Ruthie were talking about. So I guess thank you very much. I don't want to keep you more, but I could talk about this forever.
Thank you, Aro. Can you, so you will share the PowerPoint presentation? Awesome.
Yes, absolutely. I'll send it to the team, and you guys can spread it out to people who are interested. And again, if we want to do something more in detail for parent educators and family advocates, I think we can still have such a wonderful conversation about this and go through the what is it called?
The flow chart.
Yeah, the flow chart. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Aurolina. Everybody, thank you so much. And if you want to join the EDI Council, send us an email